Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Holy no one's taking away all the guns. But now I get it. Now I see what's happening.
What do you say to people who support the right to own arms, that this is the camel's nose under the tent, and the next thing you'll be after concealed carry weapons, you'll be after other kinds of gun rights?
Well, that's just not true. It wasn't true with the prior bill that was the law for 10 years. And I just think, candidly, that dog doesn't hunt.
Why shouldn't it be true? Why wouldn't you want to go after those other laws?
Because that's not what I've done in the past, and it's not what I'm doing right now.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
No one's taking away all the guns.
This is New York, the progressive capital. You show them how we lead.
Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver told me, however, that the legislature also has to do something about the number of assault weapons already owned by New Yorkers, especially in the wake of the violence at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut.
Well, I would truthfully ban them, but as an alternative, I think we have to register them, know where they are. Well, I would truthfully ban them. Well, I would truthfully ban them. Well, I would truthfully ban them. But
no one's taking away all the guns.
And Joe, I have in my hands here something that we received from the Senate, which is rejected Democrat proposals in this gun bill. And I don't know that you've seen this, or if you know that these are there or not.
No, but we don't have our own list of rejected proposals that the Senate rejected, so I don't have anything to show you.
Okay. All right, so then I won't address it then if you haven't seen it. I'll leave that one alone. Okay, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
And by the way, I would recommend not to have that list shared because it really has the capacity to dampen the enthusiasm to compromise.
Well, it sure does when we talk about confiscation of assault weapons. It absolutely has the ability to dampen and compromise. Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
No one's taking away all the guns.
Well, you could say, well, confiscation could be an option, right?
Yeah.
Sale.
We've never done that before, right. I don't think.
Mandatory sale to the state could be an option.
That's a form of confiscation.
Right. Permitting could be an option. Yeah. Keep your gun but permit it. So there are a number of options.
No one's taking away all the guns.
Top story tonight, Kurt Nimmo, Infowars.com. New York governor, gun confiscation and forced buyback an option. This is also up on DrudgeReport.com tonight. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says the state of New York is serious about gun confiscation. The Democrat and former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development told an Albany radio station he plans to propose a package of draconian legislation during his State of the State address next month. And this is what he's calling for, quote, confiscation could be an option. Mandatory sale to the state could be an option. Permitting could be an option. Keep your gun, but permit it, the governor said. And of course, this is in New York, where you already have to jump through, 100 flaming hoops simply to get a gun in the first place. And isn't it the height of hypocrisy, again, as we've said many times, that Cuomo himself, just like Mayor Bloomberg, has his own armed bodyguard, but is now lecturing the American people that they're going to have to potentially turn their guns in. It's okay for the crime bosses to be armed, to be protected with guns. American citizens are scum. You don't get that right. And so for all the people who say, well, the American people will never turn in their firearms, it's never going to happen. Just look at Hurricane Katrina. When the National Guard came knocking, even in the high and dry areas which were unaffected by the storm, they turned their guns in.
That includes New Orleans, where today authorities stepped up their efforts to empty the city. Bob Woodruff is there again tonight with an extraordinary human drama unfolding. Bob?
They say there are no orders to use force, just strong persuasion, sometimes entering open houses with guns drawn, and instructions to disarm anyone inside.
You say guns will be taken? No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
No one's taking away all the guns.
When y'all go home and you're talking to your buddies and they say, he wants to take my gun away. You've heard it here. I'm on television, so everybody knows it. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in people's lawful right to bear arms. I will not take your shotgun away. I will not take your rifle away. I won't take your handgun away.
Obama operatives in the Congress have introduced more than 10 bills that would end the Second Amendment as we know it. H.R. 1022 would allow the new Attorney General Eric Holder the dictatorial power to ban any gun he wishes at will. In 2008, before the Supreme Court, in the D.C. gun ban case, District of Columbia versus Heller, Holder argued for the complete disarmament of the American people and that only the military should own firearms. H.R. 257 would ban all youth shooting sports, including YMCA and Youth Olympic shooting clubs. H.R. 45 would force all gun owners to undergo federal psychological screening, registration, and testing to keep their firearms.
I've also asked people who have influence over youngsters, entertainers, athletes, to be involved in this program as well. But not only them, community leaders, Jesse Jackson, Mayor Barry, people who have credibility with young people should be on the television, on the radio, as much as we possibly can, and telling these youngsters that it's wrong to carry a gun, and that if you have information about people who are carrying guns, you've got to share that with Chief Thomas and with his people as well. I've also asked the school board to make a part of every day some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
No one's taking away all the guns.
Our top story tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is breaking news as a gun confiscation bill has now been introduced into Congress. This is by Kurt Nimmo up at Infowars.com. On January 13th, 2013, H.R. 226 was introduced in the House of Representatives by Connecticut Democrat Rosa DeLauro. The bill will amend the 1986 IRS code and allow a credit if taxpayers surrender their guns to the government. This is unbelievable. Strikingly honest language, including in the legislation, specifies the bill is part of the government's, quote, program to reduce the number of privately owned weapons. That's a quote. In short, a program to disarm the American people. And this goes on to say the inclusion of the IRS in the government's attempt to grab guns is especially foreboding, considering its effort to act as an Obamacare compliance enforcer. In July, we reported on a revelation made by Texas Rep. Kevin Brady that the tax agency planned to hire 16,500 new agents. And as Nimmo points out, the bill is yet more evidence that the federal and state governments are pulling out all stops now short of door-to-door confiscation to disarm the American people. And
no one's taking away all the guns.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Holy